This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
You're listening to the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast. And now, here's your host, Lisa Rangel.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to the 31st episode of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast. I'm Lisa Rangel, host of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast and founder of Chameleon Resumes. We are an executive resume writing and LinkedIn profile development and job search consultancy firm that helps executives and high potential leaders land their next role faster. And on today's podcast, we're going to discuss how to make the best impression during a video or Skype interview. With companies trying to reduce the cost of hire, or with HR departments being virtually located in some organizations, doing interviews through a static video or a dynamic Skype interview is becoming more and more common. And occasionally, the entire hiring process is done virtually. It's a combination of phone, interview, and Skype interviews. So interviewing successfully via phone, via video, via Skype are skill sets that need to be mastered, like anything else in your career that you need to do to move forward. And in the last episode, we covered phone interviews. And today we're going to discuss strategies on how to interview via video or Skype and do this successfully. So being able to communicate your value to an employer through a video or a Skype interview is paramount. I'm going to give you 10 successful interview tips via Skype and via video that can help you impress your prospective employer and allow your strengths to come through to that hiring manager who's going to make a decision to move you on to the next stage. So first, practice by making a video of yourself answering sample interview questions. Either do it with yourself or role play with a friend or an interview coach and watch yourself answering the questions on camera. See what you do. That is most likely how you're going to be on screen, unpracticed, to the interviewer. So make note of adjustments, mannerisms, eye contacts, little tics that you have, nervous tics, background settings, and then make changes. So this way, when you're on your interview via Skype or via video, static video, you've already made these adjustments beforehand. Don't do it cold. Don't do it cold. You treat a video or a Skype interview like a regular interview. Prepare accordingly. Do it as if it was a regular in-person interview. Prepare. Do your research on the company. Do your research on the interviewer. Do your research on the job. Know your resume. Do everything that you would normally do to prepare for an in-person regular interview. Do it like you would for a regular interview. Do it for the video or Skype interview. Don't take it for granted. Don't think it's less casual. More casual, actually. Next, be yourself. That's really key. On a physical interview, you would engage in small talk, have casual conversation. You would allow the interviewer to get to know you as a person. Don't let the technology get in the way of this happening. Make this still happen. People hire people they like, as well as those that have the skills that they need to be successful in the job. So focus on having the interviewer like you, using the technology before you. And be comfortable and practicing ahead of time on handling common questions and what your appearance is on the video beforehand will help you do this. And again, don't lose sight of the formality of this meeting. Don't assume it's got an essence of being casual just because it's not an in-person interview, especially if your video is happening at home with your webcam, because often companies will schedule an interview and maybe you might go to a satellite office that they've engaged, or they may have a local office in your vicinity. So they'll tell you to go to the local office, and this way you'll use their video technology and their Skype technology there. But sometimes they're just going to schedule it and you're going to be doing it at home. So if you're doing it at home, be mindful of your background. Silence any pets. Make sure children are tended to and they're not going to interrupt. Leave a sign on the door of your office to not be disturbed. Leave a sign on your front door of your apartment, of your house, so this way nobody rings the bell. You don't want to be disturbed. Turn off your phone ringers. And again, if it's a company that schedules you to go to one of their satellite offices, get there early. Allow yourself time to get settled. Allow yourself time to make sure the technology is working. And again, anytime you can do a trial run beforehand is highly recommended. Look at the background. And obviously these next few tips are if you're doing this at home. Look at the background that's behind you. Is it disorganized? Is it professional? Consider taking down some family pictures in the background so this way you're not inadvertently offering information that shouldn't be part of a hiring decision. Nobody needs to know if you're married, if you have children, your sexual orientation, your religion. Make sure all of those types of items are taken, that would convey that information is taken down, because it's just not needed for an interview. That information shouldn't be conveyed in a hiring decision. Put up pictures of your college degree. The bottom line is make sure you put forth a clean, professional, neutral image, and that the background is free of visual distractions as well. Again, fully dressed for the call. So yes, you wear your suit and pants. Don't just put on a nice shirt or a nice jacket and have like Hawaiian shorts on the bottom. The key is you may not think they're going to see your legs, but if for any reason you need to get up during the interview, like say there's a connection that needs to be tested or there's a technical glitch and you have to get up, you don't want it to be awkward because they're seeing your shorts in the bottom half of your body and your suit and jacket or your shirt and jacket on the top half of your body. So that would be a little awkward. So I say dress fully for the call, even if you don't think they're going to see your legs. And dress in solid colors. Video and Skype, this is not the time for the fabulous new print tie that you bought or the striped collared shirt or the floral print blouse. Prints and patterns can overpower the screen and make it hard for the interviewer to focus on what you're saying and on your face because they're too busy looking at the busyness of your outfit. So keep it neutral, keep it solid. Again, if you do a role play ahead of time, you can just make sure how you're coming across is how you want to come across. So you don't want to detract from what you're saying. So that's the key, is make sure your visual presentation and your attire is not detracting from your words. Video interviewing in particular can leave an impression, literally. So often employers can record interviews to compare your answers with other candidates. So just make sure what you're sharing in the interview, and this should be the case for an in-person interview anyway, but because this is now documented via video or a recorded Skype call, you just want to make sure that what you're saying is able to be said and it's not a problem for it to be recorded and in a posterity sort of way. So just keep that in mind when you're sharing information, that it's information that is shareable. Next, I often say, put on your best newscaster face. So after you've practiced, if you feel that you're, a little too bland in your presentation, or maybe you come across that you're not as energetic, you may need to turn it up a little. That's what I call the newscaster face. So you may feel like you have to overemphasize your words and overemphasize your eye contact and overemphasize your articulation. It may feel really awkward, but then when you practice this overemphasis of these different parts of your communication and you watch it on the video, you're going to see most likely that you're coming across normal. So put on your best newscaster face and be a little more animated and expressive than you would maybe in person to help convey your enthusiasm. And if you feel like you're a little too happy, most likely you're probably doing it right. So test this out. Test yourself by filming yourself. See how you are in a natural state. And if you feel like it's coming across too bland or too uninteresting or not enthusiastic enough, that's the way to do it, is just sort of turn it on a little bit. It almost feels a little strange, like you're coming on too strong. But then watch it again. Watch the sample again. You can do this with any phone device. Just see how you come across. And most likely the solution for most people is just to act a little more animated than you would normally. And it comes out normal on video or via Skype. So just test that out and do some sample questions beforehand. And also, lastly, have a backup plan if the Skype option fails. Obviously, if you have to send in a static video, you need to make sure you do it early enough so if you can't get the technology to work, you have time to still fix it, troubleshoot it, get it to work, and send it in by a deadline. But if it's a Skype situation, I've had calls with clients with interviewing publications that wanted to interview me, and sometimes the Skype doesn't work for whatever reason, despite it being so common. So always have a backup plan. Make sure your phone is charged. Make sure you may have a landline as option C, with your mobile phone being option B. But be prepared for technical glitches to possibly happen and have a backup plan so you don't miss that interview. And it also shows that you're resourceful, that you're always ready no matter what happens. So I think that in itself is a trait when people can demonstrate how they handle mishaps during an interview, whether it's an outright mistake or it's just a technical glitch? How do you handle it? Does the whole thing shut down and you can't function, or do you still make it happen and it's still awesome no matter what challenges come your way? So that it shows a resiliency when you're just always ready and you have a backup plan. So video and Skype are not the wave of the future. They're already here. So you need to embrace it. You need to embrace it, and you need to concentrate at working at it successfully. With successful video and Skype interviewing tips that I just gave you, you're certain to have a solid start and edge out your competition. Having this type of skill set down where you can interview successfully via Skype, via video, and communicate your value, this will dramatically increase your confidence on an interview. And I want you to realize something. If a company is interviewing in this way, in this manner, they're interviewing everybody in this manner. So the person that embraces this technology and this interview tactic type, meaning via Skype, via video, the person who practices it the most will have a competitive edge because they're able to sell themselves confidently over those that are not confident and shying away from this interview style. So don't fight it. Just don't fight it and practice it. That's the key. And know that everyone is being interviewed this way. This is a way for you to set yourself apart. So if you found this helpful and you want more interview preparation resources, go to our interview prep sheet at interviewprepsheet.com. You can download our interview prep sheet there. Ensure that you have all your bases covered and you're ready to crush the interview. We have additional interview tactics and strategies for you to nail that next interview, or even your next performance review, or your next internal discussion regarding a promotion. These tactics work with internal promotion discussions, performance reviews, as well as external job interviews. It's all very similar. It's about showcasing your achievements. So go to interviewprepsheet.com and get the prep sheet. In past episodes, we talked about the only way to truly protect yourself from job loss is to pretend you're fired today, make a list of the activities you would do to start finding your next job, and do those activities proactively while you're still working, before you need it. Doing these activities will help you keep yourself in demand with your network before you need it. Keep your network primed, keep your network active, stay in the forefront of your network's mind. Create demand for yourself consistently before you need it. My team and I, we want you to be in demand when you need it, so you need to create that demand before you need it. This way, if your job situation changes unexpectedly, you already have pent-up demand for what you do by doing these actions proactively, some that I showed you here today as well as in past episodes. And for the next few episodes of the Pretend You're Fired Today podcast, we're going to continue to go through a list of tactics and activities to do now as if you were let go today to ensure that you are always ready for whatever the world brings your way. The first item on this Pretend You're Fired Today list was to get your resume updated. We cover how to do this in episodes 1 through 8. And the next item on the list was to update your profile. And you can review how to update your LinkedIn profile in episodes 9 through 12. And in the last dozen or so episodes, we've covered a myriad of topics regarding how to generate your own job leads, networking, interview preparation, and some of those specific topics within those 3 areas were, how to work with recruiters, how to make new relationships at conferences. We discussed how to handle the culture fit interview questions and that infamous, are you overqualified for this job question? So knowing how to do these before you need to do it will help you conquer whatever the world throws your way. So you're going to want to revisit those episodes. And again, the key is to practice. So I am so proud of you for taking these steps, for listening to these episodes and making yourself marketable by implementing these tactics before you need to look for a job. That's the essence to job security, is to keep things in play and keep your network active, keep your documents updated, so you always know how to sell yourself, capitalize on an opportunity, and tap your network when you do need it if things change. Most people wait for that unexpected job change to happen. They stick their head in the sand. They hope it doesn't happen. Or maybe I can ride it out a little longer. And then it doesn't go that way, and the job situation changes unexpectedly, not in the way they want, and then bam, they're trying to learn how to do this, get the documents updated. They're trying to do all this under the pressure of needing to find a job fast. and the mortgage bill is coming due, the college tuition bill for the kids are coming due, and now you need a job quickly because you didn't do any of this beforehand. So seriously, a major kudos to you, a major pat on the back for learning and doing this before you need to do it. It's going to make things so much smoother for you when and if your job situation changes unexpectedly. My friend saved me with her Pretend You're Fired Today advice, and I am paying it forward with you. And I ask you to pay this sentiment forward, share this podcast with as many executives and rising professionals who you feel would benefit from the create demand for you before you need it advice. Doing the preparation suggested in this episode and in prior episodes will prepare you for whatever happens in your career. And in our next episode, we're going to discuss how to effectively follow up after an interview so you can land the offer. The interview process does not end at the interview. And I've seen offers landed and I've seen offers lost based on the follow-up after the interview. So you're not going to want to miss this. You're going to want to tune in for the next episode. And until then, go to interviewprepsheet.com and download our prep sheet. Be ready for the next session. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Be well.
This is the podcastfactory.com.